What is the most challenging aspect of being a teacher?
For me, the challenging aspect of teaching my special needs class is attempting to manage the environment in order to reduce stress and enable learning. Teaching special needs in a mainstream school creates many environmental challenges. I need to advocate for the needs of my students across the whole school community. Most importantly, I need to champion acceptance and educate students and teachers in the school in relation to the needs of my students. Things like, why is it important that the gates are always locked? Why do my students wear headphones when they're outside of our classroom? Why do they enter assembly late after the singing of the school song? Why is it frustrating when their allocated space in assembly has not been left clear? I need to be hyper-vigilant of the surrounding environment, constantly looking out for potential hazards. Many things can create chaos and panic among my students, such as the ride-on lawnmower starting up during fitness, or a truck passing while we're in the playground, a balloon anywhere on or above or even near the school grounds can create panic. Being late for fruit break, for recess, for lunch, actually being late for anything. The constant challenge for any teacher is the limited time you have to make a difference. Each of my students have such diverse and specific needs, it is difficult to create the time and space to do the best that you can for each child. So the challenging part is setting up the learning activities and the learning environment so that it will meet as many needs of my students as possible. This requires making constant changes and adjustments to activities, strategies, routines. It means creating a dynamic and varied physical environment that can be utilised in different ways, depending on the activity or the feelings or the behaviour of students at any given time.
There is a lot of discussion at the moment around improving teacher training and teacher quality. What are your thoughts around this? Do you think teacher training and teacher quality needs to be improved in Australia?
This is a tricky one. On one hand, I believe everything can be improved. Constant analysis, evaluation and development is the basis of quality practice. It is the way we teach and it is what we are trying to teach our students. But on the other hand, there is an implication here that the quality and skills of all teachers is in question. There are thousands of amazing and inspirational individuals successfully teaching students every day in a difficult system. I think that a teacher's ability to meet expected teaching and learning outcomes needs to be supported. But this involves much, much more than the isolated issue of teacher training and teacher quality. The requirements that constitute quality teaching have grown exponentially over the last 10 to 15 years. However, very little change has occurred to the structure of the school environment and the parameters around how teaching and learning is delivered in a school setting. For example, technology is now a critical component of education, yet how it is used and understood within a given school relies on the additional skills and interests of the teachers that happen to be employed within that school. Best practice business process would have an expert technology staff employed to manage their technology solutions. There is no reason educational technology experts could not be deployed across the education system to support and enhance the effective and consistent use of technology in the classroom. And that's just one example.
How do you think teacher training could be improved?
I'm not sure I have the expertise or experience to make a judgment on current teacher training, but what I do believe is that good teachers have an inherent ability to nurture and to teach. Academic learning puts structure and understanding and research behind this ability, but the best way to hone this skill is to gain practical experience in a classroom. I would like to see a system that can support greatly increased practical classroom experience in teacher training. Personally, I have experience in the development and implementation of tertiary medical education. With doctor training, graduating signifies competence of relevant knowledge and basic practical skills. equipping the medical graduates for an internship where they practice and learn while they work, supported within the healthcare environment. If teacher training could emulate this model, with new teachers guaranteed employment and then continuing their learning on the job by working alongside experienced teachers, this would benefit the graduate by providing mentoring and guidance, and would also free up time for existing teachers to meet the ever-growing demands on their time.
What advice would you give to a new graduate?
Firstly, look for mentors. Great teachers are in every school, so no matter if you are one of the lucky ones to get a job after graduating, or you are working casually in many different schools, you can and should watch and listen to other teachers. Ask questions, ask for advice, observe how they implement techniques and strategies, but also trust your own instincts and ideas. And then through practice and trial and error, you will develop your own style and way of managing things. But remember that you never stop learning and adjusting. There is no one way that is the best way. I'd tell graduates, build relationships with your students, also with their parents or carers. Recognising and treating each student as an individual will allow you the best chance of meeting their needs. Don't be afraid to look to parents and carers for advice and ideas. They know what works for their child better than anyone. If you spend time learning about each child, you will gain a greater understanding of what it is they need to learn and to make positive choices at school. Allow your students to start afresh each day. Don't hold on to feelings caused by a student's poor behaviour. For me, teaching students with special needs, I focus on resetting after each teaching session throughout the day. Holding on to negative feelings makes creating a positive, supportive, fun learning environment an impossible task. Allow students to make mistakes and encourage them to learn from this and make better choices in the future. After all, you will be hoping that others do the same for you. For a graduate, the first year in the classroom is a huge learning curve, and they will need to put in the time and thought to be able to stay on top of things. But remember, balance is always the key to success. Yes, there are many challenges to teaching, but there are also many, many rewards. Celebrate your success and celebrate the success of your students, no matter how small. Ensure that you take time for yourself, your family and your friends. Being the best you that you can be will provide the greatest benefits to your students and your school.
If there was one aspect of teaching you would like changed, what would it be?
Definitely better workforce planning. Firstly, reducing graduate numbers to create more certain pathways for careers. Secondly, looking at the way curriculum is delivered in the school environment. I don't have all the answers, but there are not many other professions where the structure of delivery for meeting outcomes has remained unchanged for decades. In the terms of primary education, the autonomous classroom, where an individual teacher needs to be the expert in all things, needs to manage the individual learning needs of each student, as well as manage a controlled and nurturing environment. If you add this to the growing amount of administrative work required, you have a scenario that's just not sustainable or even achievable. I think it needs to be acknowledged that teachers work hard and achieve incredible outcomes all across the country,